Hi, my name is Erin Reilly, and I'm a professor and the founding director of Texas Immersive Institute at Moody College of Communication at the University of Texas at Austin. But in a nutshell, I'm an actual experience designer. So what I'd like to share with you today is really the world I live in, immersive, and what is the formula for creating not just good, but great immersive experiences. So I think deeply about our relationship with all forms of media and help others understand how immersive defines the way we communicate now and in the future. So throughout history, we have constantly evolved the ways in which we communicate, uttering our first words as a baby, to let's go way, way back to cave paintings, to putting pen to paper, or nowadays it's gestural fingers to our ether space, to disseminating to the masses via the press when it came out. Maybe you're a fan of radio or TV or films or the multiple ways we consume video. There are infinite limits in how we communicate and share every kind of story. But now and into the future, our narratives are told through the metaverse, a world that immerses the user at the center of a story. The metaverse is typically used to describe the concept of a future iteration of the internet. It's a blending of our physical and digital environments, a way for us to physically persist within virtual spaces. And at first, you might perceive this new world through the eyes of technology we embody. But I don't like to be a technological determinist. I like to look at it through the lens of immersive. Immersive is the act of participating in this metaverse. It's a loaded word. It has many meanings. It comes from multiple disciplines, as you can see here on this slide. But basically, immersive encourages the audience member to have an interactive, personalized, experiential, and emotional experience. It's not a new word. Actually, it has a rich history across multiple disciplines. But today, these experiences use a variety of emerging technologies, blending physical and digital interactions. It's a practice integrated into any vertical, from education to entertainment to transportation, consumer and health, and even categories we haven't realized yet. When I launched Texas Immersive Institute, I interviewed experts from multiple disciplines to get a broader understanding of what immersive is. So take a look at this video.
Immersive is, I think, a challenging term.
What immersive means to me is that the audience is part of the story.
Immersive is what we do now, where we're still doing the same thing. We're telling a story, we're putting on a show, but the audience is a member of that cast.
I think there was a big shift, with immersive theater. The audience is the core of it.
Feels like immersing yourself in an environment.
And we want to be part of something that we actually feel emotionally tied to.
A lot of people think of it as a constraint of technology. But of course, if you think about it, that's not true. People can be immersed in a book, or they can be immersed in a campaign, or immersed in a sports game.
It's like the audience actually gets to do something, and something is affected by it.
Which means everyone's still trying to figure out what immersive is.
Sometimes that happens fictionally through entertainment. Sometimes that happens in a real lived experience where people need to rely on a certain software or hardware to help them make sense of or deal with an environment, a situation.
For me, immersive is just part of life now.
So overall, the common thread in defining immersive as a new field was to bring diverse disciplines together to seek the unknown, dive into new possibilities, and get excited about starting with a blank page. For success, it's a convergence of understanding your audience, exploring new forms of storytelling, and identifying technology that has the right affordances to engage the user. This is the formula for immersive. Users are demanding more and more out of their immersive experiences, and we have more opportunities to reach them in personal ways than ever before. Thinking past the boundaries of a passive, lean-back mobile or desktop experience, immersive opens up potential possibilities to create new experiences anywhere. But we have to adopt the technology that defines the metaverse where we can be immersed. These technologies are collectively known as extended reality, or XR in short. It's the next phase of the human-computer interface, integrating digital content into our real world, such as augmented reality, or creating fully virtual environments, such as virtual reality or mixed reality. I like to say that XR is the suitcase of acronyms: AR, VR, MR, and I throw in IoT and AI as well, because they often are the drivers of the metaverse. The future of immersive is a fundamental shift in the way people interact with media. To use XR as the umbrella term is to recognize this intersection of these technologies and the many ways we will work, live, and learn together. They're disrupting our everyday interactions. Now, immersive experiences have to exceed a user's expectations. And to meet these high standards for experience, story proves to be the key differentiator between good and great. And specific factors rise to the top. So whether the immersive experience is physical, digital, a combination of both, experience needs to have these key attributes. It has to be beautiful, authentic, unique, inspirational, and welcoming in order to stand out to the crowd. So let me give you a few examples. Beauty, in particular, contributes to the quality of people's first impression, and it's also connected to how people perceive the value of a product, a service that's associated with that experience. So here we're seeing how can we reimagine or transform the dining experience without overpowering it. Seeing our thumb-sized chef projected on your table while you wait for your real meal creates an unforgettable night out.
Bonjour, bienvenue.
Authenticity is changing the relationship between creator and our audience. Even though most people don't differentiate between the quality of the product or interactions and story when describing an experience, the alignment or misalignment of these features is a clear driving factor in how they will be perceived as a whole experience. So take, for example, Bernie Sue, who is a longtime Emmy, Peabody Story Award winner, started in YouTube as one of the top YouTube creators and has now moved over to Twitch to create Artificial. So take a look at this video.
My name is Bernie Sue, and I am the showrunner and co-creator of Artificial. What is Artificial? It is a serialized sci-fi drama series that is performed live. The show is not only interactive, but is designed where the audience is consequential to the story, while using actual artificial intelligence in its interactivity. The series follows the development of an AI being as she is guided by her creators, scientists, and investors, some of which are friends and others, of course, enemies. This series is on Twitch and is the only scripted original on the platform. But Artificial isn't just another sci-fi series on a streaming platform. It is a series specifically designed for the technology on Twitch. As I like to say, the show could not be done on any other platform. It could only be done on Twitch. So, exactly how is the show interactive? Well, the viewer has two main interactive touch points that may seem simple, but are used in a variety of different complex ways. First is Twitch chat, where the audience can type messages to the characters and the characters can respond like this.
Yeah, you know, I'm curious about this question actually. LTC123 Apple asks, Lilith, do you believe that your creation is moral, and why?
It is not moral or immoral. It merely is. But I believe that now that I exist, I have a right to live, just like you do.
And through Twitch extensions, we have polls where the audience as a collective can determine massively consequential elements of the story. To be clear, these are not branching narratives where the audience can see multiple branches of a story. After they make a choice, it is final. The audience is consequential and the other choice is erased. As you can see in this poll determining who will meet Xander between Elle and Matt, Elle wins this poll, and thus the Elle Xander scene is performed and is now story canon.
The lovely Elle. Nice to finally meet you.
While the opposite choice, the Matt Xander scene, though written, rehearsed, and prepared, never happened, because after all, there are consequences to the audience decisions. As we are now in our third season, the show has evolved into another level of interactivity, which we call artificial remote intelligence. We now present the show as a weekly 2-hour scripted series, which because of COVID is remotely produced. To be clear, a feature-length interactive dramatic series performed live and remote and presented weekly. Each episode has up to 30 scenes, features up to 12 cast members, all performing from their own spaces. This series is very complex and incredibly challenging to produce, but our goal is to make it feel seamless. A quick example of this, I'll show this scene where we start with a dramatic exchange between 2 actors and immediately cut to 3 other actors. And yes, all 5 of them are performing live.
Wow.
Aside from our main story episodes, we now have a secondary format this season, which we call world building episodes. In these episodes, fans have the opportunity to work with the creators, actors, and writers to not only write actual scenes, they can create entire characters. Now, in the write a scene format, we start with 2 actors from the series. We design a skeletal structure for the scene and let the audience determine the rest through chat and polls. In this example for this scene, when we let the audience determine how Elle became a scientist, this not only became a line of dialogue, this is now a defining moment of character history for one of the main characters in our show.
Whole result, lost a sibling and wanted to bring them back.
I love a good tragedy.
And remember, the audience made this choice. In our Create a Character events, the audience is literally creating a character to put in the series. Our most notable audience created character is Xander, who is played by Dante Bosco.
Are we ready?
Dante signed onto the series not knowing who he was going to play, but instead worked with the fans to create his character together. The fans determined his name, his relationship to another character, how they met, personality traits, flaws, hobbies, quirks, even his catchphrase, all of which have been paid off in the series.
No intelligence is artificial, and love is always relevant.
Our final interactive innovation is the LifeScore adaptive music platform, where the audience, through actual artificial intelligence, can change the musical score in real time. LifeScore takes the data coming through chat and analyzes the emotion being expressed by the audience, and then changes the music. In this example, the music starts at mysterious, switches to happy, and eventually turns to intense. Listen for the transitions. How the system is set up is through this backend producer tool built in Twitch extensions. As a scene comes up, I, as a director, will set the musical theme of that scene based on drama, subject, or characters. After I select this theme, the music defaults to the general emotional class. And at that point, the audience, through chat, can shift the music across 4 emotional classes: happy, sad, mysterious, and intense. But also, the audience can shift the level of the music. For example, taking intense level 1 to level 2, and then on to 3. The audience can follow this experience through this episode with this on-screen visualizer, which displays where the musical score is currently standing at any given time, making this a constant interactive experience. Because at any given moment, the characters may not be responding to chat. There may not be a poll up for you to vote for, but at every minute of the show, you, the audience, can change the music through your words, reactions, and emotions. So in summary, Artificial is a weekly 2-hour serialized sci-fi drama that is performed live and produced remotely. Through chat and polls, the audience can interact with characters, write scenes for them, create them from scratch, and through LifeScore, change the musical score in real time, thus making the audience more consequential to a scripted sci-fi drama than they have ever been before. That is our presentation. My name is Bernie Sue, and thank you for your time.
So whether the experience reflects the broader brand and mission behind a company's history, or a compelling backstory is considered to be more authentic when you truly are getting the right content, it's about getting the right content to the right person at the right moment, in the right mood, the right location, and like Bernie shared, on the right screen or platform that has the affordances to tell the story you want to share with your audience. People enjoy the unexpected and being surprised. So wow moments excite and engage, and being unique is offering an experience unlike anything else. The true value of immersive is to transport the user within the experience or story. Content becomes the new reality, and the world becomes the user's campus. Take, for example, Adventure Lab's Dr. Crumb's School of Disobedient Pets. This became super popular during 2020 when we were all stuck at home because we wanted new social experiences. So in this virtual environment, where you think you're talking with an animated character within the virtual environment, you actually are interacting not only with your peers who could be spread all over the world, finally having that family reunion you want, to actually working and connecting with Dr. Crumb, who is a live actor behind the scenes, giving you that personalized experience, gauging how you're interacting in a VR experience. Perhaps it's the first time you've ever been in a VR experience. So we want to make sure that not only is it unique, but it's something that can be shared and recommended. As much as people like experiences that are new and different, they dislike not knowing how things work or how to get around. So how Adventure Lab does it is they put a live actor in the middle of your play experience in order to help guide you or support you. People want control over their experience, and have choices in the path they take in a story. Choice is a key part of immersive, creating a world where I can go this way and you can go that way. That means making the function and intuitive aspects from onboarding the experience to actually the experience itself, to even thinking about what happens on conclusion. Because taking someone out of the metaverse, out of the virtual world, and putting them back into reality can be very daunting sometimes. It'd be like jumping off a swing and not landing right. So to conclude, you want to make the experience unique, but you also want to take them through that experience to have that fun experience.
Hi.
I already sent the code to Justin, but we're all gonna be there.
I'll see you there.
I'll see you there in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited. Time for an adventure.
Hi.
Hello! You must be the new mongrels for my minion army.
Should we go down? Yeah, let's go down.
I need help. Thanks, guys.
I got you. Cool.
No, guys, don't forget. I need help.
I know you're tiny, but I believe in you, all right?
Come on, Heath.
If you...
Nice. I got you.
Oh.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
I'm trying. It's not working.
Let's spread out.
I'm going.
No, my beautiful robot.
Finally.
He's coming through with the wind.
That was dope. Never done anything like that.
So weird to be back in real life.
I got my highlight reel ready. Okay, I'm gonna share this.
You're literally in a different world.
It did make me feel like they were right there with me.
I would totally do this again.
So the search for inspiration is a core aspect of our behaviors and decision making. And spaces that are designed to spur creative thinking offer some of the best experiences. In particular, immersive experiences need to inspire people to change behavior, whether that means connecting them to nature in new ways, exposing them to new or unexpected ideas, or creating places that support a diverse range of activities that broaden perspectives. For example, in 2020, the Messy Truth VR experience won the Outstanding Original Interactive Program for the Television Academy's Emmys. Their virtual reality series was designed to build empathy in the user. And each episode is based on a true story and literally places the viewer in the footsteps of other walks of life. So here is the first example of their first episode, where you step in the shoes of a young African-American boy who is with his father when they get pulled over by the cops. Take a look.
This is Van Jones. I'm a television host. I'm also an activist and a dad, and I'm very concerned about the country. We are at a turning point. We're either going to turn to each other or on each other.
Follow your dreams.
We need to acknowledge what we're trying to do here in the United States of America is very, very tough. It's hard. You got every kind of human being ever born in one country. As with all hard things, there comes a time when you got to redouble your efforts to listen to each other and make any kind of progress.
All right, we're rehearsing sound. Everybody quiet on the set.
That's when I decided to begin working with Elijah Allen Blitz on a series of virtual reality experiences designed to create true empathy by putting the viewer in somebody else's shoes. I've always been a fan of Marvel Comics, and I felt like it was important to find superheroes who want to do good in real life. For our first episode, we partnered with Winston Duke from the film Black Panther. The episode puts you in the shoes of a 12-year-old African-American boy in the car with your dad, pulled over and harassed by the police.
I'm more interested in white America seeing it.
We wanted to make this available to as many people as possible.
I was a beach cop down in Delaware, so I got the police officer's perspective. Whenever we hear a story like this happens in the news, it's easy to say, you know, at least from my perspective, safety first. Really gives you a really new perspective of sitting in that seat as a kid, watching dad getting pulled out, and you don't know what's going to happen next.
Now, we used first ever hand tracking technology that puts the viewer in the body of the person they might initially felt like they got nothing in common with. What these people were experiencing in 3.5 minutes, you could argue about for 3.5 days.
It's kind of shocking to see with your own eyes.
And a feel.
Yes, exactly.
For the second episode, we decided to focus on sexual harassment. And to do that, we partnered with Captain Marvel herself, Brie Larson.
I wanted to focus specifically on the restaurant industry as a way of insight into a larger systemic issue of power imbalances. Being able to participate in putting someone in that experience of seeing how even microaggressions can be really impactful, hurtful, and traumatizing to others, I think will help us to create safer, fair work environments for everyone.
We do have other episodes with other Marvel superheroes already lined up. Just a few decades ago, what we do every single day was considered impossible. But here we are, a miracle in human history, and we need tools to help us come together.
We're always told, like, live in someone else's shoes. There's a difference between living in someone else's shoes and seeing through someone else's eyes.
Thank you for your consideration.
Lastly, let's talk about welcoming. Welcoming is behaving in a friendly way to a guest or a new arrival, and most experiences include some level of social activity, but even those that don't should be designed to accommodate human needs for belonging and build a sense of community. Spaces that feel welcoming and support a diverse group of people are consistently rated as better experiences. So I have to end these great case studies with theme parks, which is probably where a lot of immersive began. In the wizarding world of Harry Potter, one of my favorite places to live, Universal Studios has added interactive wands for muggles to create magic through both walking through Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade Village. So there are approximately 40 wand keepers, each with a different style and flair. And the wand keepers at Ollivanders rotate 45-minute sets, so you can go through the ceremony to find the wand that chooses you multiple times and are provided a unique experience each time. Then, within the world of Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley, young wizards and witches can actually go explore with their wand and practice their new skills.
Would you care to take a sip of our coffee? Specialis for
Absolutely,
Sure.
step right up. If you've time to dock, you've time to work.
All
I'll
right.
let you borrow my wand even, unless you've got yours.
I do not.
All right, step on up.
What do I do?
Start with her. She's an excellent teacher.
All right.
Okay.
Point it straight up that way and circle to the right and say reparo.
Reparo.
Ah, there it is. You're going to point that direction. You're going to do a number 4 and say locomotor bellows. Up, down, to the right.
Okay.
Up, down, to the right.
Yes,
locomotive bellows.
Try it again, a little smaller. There you
There we go.
Lovely. Genius.
Silenzio!
Don't be a very loud splash.
It's disrespectful. Silenzio! Wonderful. It's actually more peaceful if I'm with you.
Add just a little bit more light.
Now, while these showcase great immersive experiences, when I launched Texas Immersive here at the University of Texas at Austin, I wanted to offer experiential learning for the next generation of storytellers to design and develop the future of immersive. Our goal is to lead in immersive and help our faculty, researchers, and students use storytelling to share solutions to big problems that are responsive, responsible, and remarkable. Already, we're incorporating these attributes that I've shared with you today into our own projects we're distributing to the world. For example, our first project released this month in partnership with UT Admissions' new Welcome Center. They desired a more impactful campus visit for their digital-first generation. So we developed UT Austin's Be a Longhorn campaign. And the first things the students tackled was to design the mailers, because a lot of them actually received thousands of mailers their senior year in high school, and all of them usually go in the trash. So we wanted to create that mailer that was more interactive, that piqued their curiosity, and whether you could come to campus or not, which a lot of seniors last year couldn't come to campus for a visit, they could have a meaningful prospective student experience before they even stepped foot on campus, giving them a peek into what life here at UT is. So take a look.
There we go. Well, hey there, partner. My name's Bevo, and welcome to UT Austin. Come with me and I'll show you around. Tap on any of the buildings to discover more about UT Austin.
We also wanted to help students find their place on campus when they arrived. So we created a self-paced tour where they can follow our mascot, Bevo. We wanted them to walk along the walkway with Bevo to learn about UT's student life. So each character you meet along the walkway offers fun AR interactive games to unpack the spirit of UT.
Well, hey there, partner. My name's Bevo. Let's take a walk so I can show you this beautiful campus. I'll be your guide. Whoa. Well, what's going on here? Everything's turned black and white. Looks like UT Austin has lost its spirit. We gotta fix this. Look around and we'll find out what happened.
And lastly, we thought about the offboarding experience of the Be a Longhorn campaign. We wanted to turn the Admissions Welcome Center into an interactive space to bring a memory so that those prospective students and families could bring a memory home from their UT experience. So we created an augmented reality touchscreen photo booth. Take a look. Now, moving forward, we're in early stages of this new immersive experience called Eyes on the Sky. Near-Earth space is a common resource. It's finite and basically ungoverned. Maybe you've been watching all the big companies gutting up to shooting their own spaceships up to near-Earth space. Well, our very own UT professor and space environmentalist, Professor Moody from the Cockrell School of Engineering, wants to take users on a journey of discovery and human connection to our shared sky. So we're developing a mixed reality experience designed to bring space environmentalism education alive. The goal is to inspire the eyes of the public and legislation to look upward, to protect and preserve our near-Earth space for generations to come. Now, when we complete and distribute this, we project a minimum of 10,000 people a year to experience this in the affiliated museums we hope to connect with and bring awareness and changed behavior to the public, and hopefully make the United Nations SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, include near-Earth space in our environmental protection. So take a look at our teaser.
This is a town like many, many others. There's nothing particularly unique about this town. It's peaceful, it's safe. I don't want to give it all away just yet, but I have to tell you a few things. Things aren't quite what they appear to be. We're in a state of disharmony with our environment, and it's actually not about just what's going on Earth, it's about what's happening in space. Hi, my name is Moody. I'm an astrodynamicist, a space environmentalist, and an associate professor of aerospace engineering and engineering mechanics at the University of Texas at Austin. Together with a group of students and faculty, we're trying to make a difference. It's a project called Eyes on the Sky. Why? Let me show you something. We're currently working on a prototype to deliver a different kind of experience, because when it comes to solving wicked problems, we need to find new ways to tackle them and raise awareness. What we're trying to do is investigate new ways of storytelling. Me, I'm a scientist, I have lots of data. But I can't just show people data and it makes sense. I want my audience to be all of you, to be humanity itself. And for this to be successful, we're investigating this thing called mixed reality, which is a fusion of both physical and digital experiences. We're developing this prototype called the Sky Dome. Basically, it's an immersive portal. In essence, it can take you anywhere in the universe and make you believe it. All these dots that you see swirling around me, these things are mostly space garbage, space debris, different orbital altitudes, orbital highways, moving in near real time. And a lot of this number crunching is happening at the Texas Advanced Computing Center as we speak. Here's the Earth, but what I really want to show you is where the International Space Station is located right now. In order to really understand this problem of space debris, let's go a little bit closer to home. Okay, welcome to near-Earth orbit and the International Space Station. This is what the view of the Earth would look like if we were on board the space station, which is orbiting the Earth at about 400 kilometers above the Earth's surface. As you can see, it's already quite busy up here and is going to get busier all the time. Remember those yellow dots in astrograph? Well, these yellow dots represent dead satellites, pieces of debris, just like this satellite that you see drifting behind me. Unfortunately, 95% of all the objects that we track orbiting the Earth are like this one, basically dead pieces of junk. As it turns out, all this debris orbiting the Earth can cause a whole lot of damage. In fact, something the size of my cell phone could punch right through the International Space Station, or take out an entire network of communication satellites.
At Texas Immersive, you can see we explore this emerging field in 4 ways: by offering a physical space, so come visit us anytime, for the community to demo and imagine the possibilities of immersive. We have courses in executive education to help prepare the next generation to learn this field, and we conduct applied research by designing, developing, and researching immersive experiences. Our research is at the intersection of how immersive connects with how we work, live, and learn. And so far, our insights have informed new ways to engage users' attention with a growing list of supporters. Overall, immersive is about getting involved. The relationship between the creator and the audience has changed, and immersive offers a profound shift in how people think, feel, and behave. Today's world is no longer satisfied with this passive, lean-back storytelling experience. They want to be a part of it. The relationship between storyteller and audience is blurred. It's up to us to imagine where immersive can take us into the future. And we decide whether we want it to be good or great. So thank you. And I look forward to having a conversation with you, asking any questions.
Okay, Erin, absolutely fascinating talk. absolutely
Thank
fascinating. There were so many things in there in the conversation. So I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes talking to you about some of the things that you talked about, and of course from the perspective of how is that going to play out for the communicators and some the audience that was present here with us. So let me open by with the most fundamental question, where you talked about extended reality, immersive, metaverse. This feels like a fairly far future vision, even though some parts of it are visible now and coming together. How do you think this is going to evolve as the new reality, and especially when the way we are going to work, play, live, and learn in the future?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're in the very early stages of the metaverse working. And I've been thinking about this for years, maybe decades. The first thing that as a designer that I think about is persistence, right? And that's been very hard because having a persistent ID that travels with you across different platforms and technology is complicated, right? Every corporation has you sign in, has a different ID. So it's hard to create kind of that streamlined experience where your ID goes with you and you're able to never leave your identity, right? Instead of creating different IDs each place you go. Now, Facebook, Google, they do this, right? They're already starting to integrate it on, you can just sign up with this one ID and take it with you. And that's a really good start in making sure that the metaverse will be a seamless, immersive experience. Another thing to think about, though, as we do have this persistence, is people will think about their own privacy in new ways. While we all want to be online and connected, we still also want to have some sort of private space or private identity, which is getting to be harder and harder. I mean, look at how we're moving into each other's homes this past year, socially connecting, seeing how we live. I can't tell you how many of my students were like, your office is a game room? That's behind me, right? So like they're getting to know even like what my personal life is. But what I'm finding is that there are some new Twitch streamers and YouTubers who are creating a 3D avatar. So the rise of virtual beings where you can layer yourself as an avatar and create kind of that anonymity is something to really follow in changing the way we think about our own reputation and our own identity. Is like, I know of one, it's not very broad yet, but I know of one pretty famous influencer, VTuber, who is actually a virtual being. So she has her private life, and when she goes out, she doesn't have to be bombarded with like, what's on the schedule next? What are you doing? She can actually go have a meal and hang out with her friends just like a normal young adult. But she has a huge following. She has a real personal, authentic relationship with her audience that connects with her through this virtual character. And I think we'll see more and more of that as we start kind of converging the physical and digital spaces.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, that's going to open up tremendous opportunities as we look through different industries and look to what does that combination of the hybrid model looks like. So that brings me to my second question, Erin. You call yourself an experienced designer. So I would love to get your thoughts on how would you see communication, the design thinking about communication as we get into the immersive world, and what are the things that we need to do differently as we get into that world?
I am grounded in design thinking, but I actually kind of feel like I'm as in the communication, the College of Communication. I think of myself that experienced designer is not just about the design, right? Like the user interface, what kind of the interactions part, which UI UX often follows or focuses on, is more, what am I going to touch, or what is my gesture? Where's the movement? I think of it more as story design, an experience designer, right? How are we communicating and creating those call and responses between creator and audience that changes us to think about communication not as what we've known for years, like the one-to-one, the one-to-many, the many-to-many. Now it can be so personalized that I can fluidly move between all these different ways of communicating. And story, which I'm grounded in transmedia storytelling that Henry Jenkins coined back in 2007. Being able to tell your story across different media. Each medium can stand alone and the story can have its own purpose. But as you move across, you get to learn more about that story universe. You get to start making connections. To me, that's the way we're communicating in this metaverse. That we are building these transmedia story worlds, and we are trying to find, as an experience designer, the small nuances of more of a kind of direct path in the story, that linear path we need, getting to point A to point Z, but giving me a lot of freedom to personalize it, to move through, to make choices. And it creates a more authentic relationship in that story. And that's what I'm looking for as an experience designer, is working with a team to make sure we've fully thought through what we're trying to communicate to who, when, and why, right? So it's like, what if this, but then why not? Who is it? Where is it? What's the location? All of those things come into play.
So no, that's absolutely fascinating as the physical and the digital converge. So that brings me to my next question, Erin, in terms of where experience is becoming more immersive storytelling, transmedia storytelling, where this is a world beyond voice, this is a world beyond text, right? Where you're virtually moving through spaces, whether it's your work, whether it's how you entertain yourself. That world, this convergence of physical and digital, also means that there would be a lot more information and data which is going to be at play. So what, according to your views, should be the balance between personalization and privacy?
Good question. Well, let's talk about the data. Let's just unpack this a little bit with the data that you're talking about, because I think we've been used to our interactions with sight and sound, but now in immersive, we're getting into sensory media. So I'm currently doing research at Texas Immersive around haptics, right? The touch and tangibility. D-Box Technologies has just released a haptics game share because gaming is blowing up at the home, right? And that's a new language, haptics, we need to understand. That's data we'll continue to start collecting. So, and the way we're collecting that data is through facial recognition and biometrics, right? So now it's not just where my eyeballs are or where my head is tracking. I'm tracking also the sensory connections on arousal, on emotion, right? On my facial emotions of participating in these haptics, of what triggers me in type of the tangible, I call it tangible storytelling components. So you take that into account, and privacy and personalization gets even more minute, right? And you can be inundated with data as to which data should you be looking at, right? So for example, I've been working with creative directors to say the way you would look at some of this haptic data is to compare it to the story, where the user is in the story, and see where arousal is happening, so we can start gaining and interpreting this new language of what works, what doesn't. We automatically, I guess we guess that if it's moving and fast and it's like driving a car, that's where we want haptics. But actually, you're not going to want to jiggle and joggle and move around a ton. when you're gaming for 4 to 6 hours, I would have a sore back, but I would totally sore back. I'd be like broken by the end. So it's the subtleties, right? It's the subtleties we're looking at in the visuals related to the tangible haptics that will tell me and shape the new stories that were emerging. So that type of kind of minute data is changing the way we're personalizing the subtle gestures in an experience. Now, with personalization versus privacy, I think that I have to bring it back to the virtual beings. I think that's an interesting thing to pay attention to and keep on following because it might create, as we move into this hybrid model, kind of like Wizard of Oz. You know, we all become kind of the man behind the curtain, the female behind the curtain, and that I can still have this magical space and participate, but I can have choice in who I let behind that curtain or not.
That's really helpful to know and pretty insightful as we think through, doing that fine balance between personalization and privacy. And there's so many things at play there. So Erin, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and put the focus on storytelling and of course, dip into your expertise, as you look through the different ways of, storytelling itself has evolved over the years.
Oh, yes.
So traditionally storytelling, kind of started which is often rooted to what is happening around us, which kind of evolved as new media and new formats started coming. So, but the essence of storytelling has always been connecting the dots, looking at the larger collective goal. Do you think the extended reality will splinter our sense of shared reality in storytelling?
I actually think that the future creates more of a collective story. So where I've seen the biggest disruptions is I follow Jeffrey Gomez, who is a storytelling expert. And he really has unpacked what we have done for centuries is followed this linear model of the hero's journey, okay? Even some of my favorite universes that I live in has been based on the hero's journey, right? Star Wars, hero's journey. Lord of the Rings, hero's journey. Like Harry Potter, hero's journey, right? But now you look towards our future and it's really being disrupted. So agencies, companies, studios, writers who are relying on the hero's journey are kind of telling old storytelling models. It's more, we need to look at nonlinear, trans-platform communication. Those are the places where the model is being disrupted. And what's rising is the standard tropes of classic storytelling have really begun to be slow or obvious or dated. So Jeffrey Gomez talks about this collective journey model, and it helps us explore a new way to look at storytelling where the audience participates in the narrative. It's made possible by media technologies, by even the mobile device in our pocket, but it connects us. And you can see these disruptions, they've been going back a really long time. I like to say that the use of the hashtag as a common social practice for millions of users on social media was really the bubbling up of this collective journey. It was helping us self-organize around subjects that mattered. And it was something we saw or participated in ourselves to really make a difference in the world. And that's the novelty, right, of collective journey, is that it's not just pushing a story out to us, it's listening to us, and the story is evolving.
Thank you, Erin. That was super helpful. So I'm going to now focus my last few questions on, of course, something that the audience here would probably derive great value from. Communicators, primarily storytellers.
Yes.
So would you advise them as they design the future playbook of storytelling?
Well, I'd have to bring it back to my presentation. I actually think those, in Texas Immersive, the first course, those 5 key attributes is where I begin everyone when they start to explore immersive is, you can never forget about beautiful. You have to make a beautiful experience. I always tell my students as they start prototyping or designing their first experiences to finish strong. Because if you finish strong, most likely it will be beautiful, right? And not half done. You need to really think about welcoming. Like, I feel like the future of storytelling is about building a sense of belonging, creating that kind of social community and connection. A lot of my past research has been on audience development and engagement, and the relationship between audience and creator has changed. So we need to accept that. And as a storyteller, we need to welcome them into the experience, welcome them into helping shape your story. So definitely, think about those 5 attributes as a way to give you a framing for designing immersive experiences.
So I take away and beautiful 5 things: welcoming, belonging, social connection, and making, working closely and sharing the experience with your audience. That's the playbook and probably the foundation of how future of storytelling could be in an immersive world. So that brings me to my last question, Erin, today, as we wrap up. I must ask you about that one big opportunity in the future of comms that you're very excited about.
Yeah, I think this is why Moody College of Communication is leading, because our dean recruited me here to UT to help think about the future of communication, really to innovate on the media that we've been working through and thinking about new ways to communicate. So you'll never be in my classroom and thinking about like a passive lean back experience. Communication, the future of communication is leaning forward. And it's communication, we're living communication in a participatory culture so that we have choice, right? We have choice as to when we want to participate and when we don't. So it's not that there's no lean back experience. It's that I have the choice to lean forward and participate in multiple ways. So low barriers to enter are super important in the future. The more complicated the technology gets, the more simpler we need it to be for the end user. And I always, think about the beginning of the internet. Okay, well, not the beginning, but like when it became mainstream, one of the first companies that made it super simple was Google, because they just like had the search bar, right? Like they made it simple, even though the complexity was behind the screen. And I think we think about that with the tools in our hand, to the headsets, which I think once they get it to be as simple as the glasses on my face, I cannot wait for augmented reality to be in my glasses. The more simpler and kind of comfortable it is, the more we'll see this to be pervasive, ubiquitous, connecting to us in new ways, and for us to connect with each other in new ways. And that's the future. So walk with me into the metaverse for sure, right? We'll go hand in hand and figure it out together.
Thank you so much, Erin. I mean, you've painted a picture where it just looks supremely amazing, really exciting. And thank you for this really, really insightful conversation. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. And thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you. Appreciate the invite.